Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, and I hope you're having an awesome day. Today we have an electric vehicle company that is getting a lot of attention lately, especially with the upcoming Ford conference focused on electric vehicles and the Biden administration's push for all electric government fleets. We're talking about Rivian, the electric vehicle truck manufacturer. So here's exactly what we're going to go over today. First, we're going to discuss the industry status, then the company and product overview. Next, we'll go over funding that's happened over the last 2 years. And finally, my 2 cents on where I think this stock and company is going. So stick around, it should be fun. Now, of course, everyone knows Tesla. And Tesla's greatest advantage is that when establishing their brand over the last 10 or 12 years, they really didn't have a lot of competition. Overall, the biggest companies on the block were Nissan's Leaf and also the Chevy Volt, both of which did not fare too well and were a pale comparison to what Tesla put out. For many years, analysts kept warning that there was Tesla killers around the corner, but they never materialized. Tesla now has about an 81% share of the electric vehicle market in the United States. But that might no longer be the case. And one of the reasons might be Rivian. Of course, there's a number of companies on the scene right now, but they're a very interesting one to look at, especially by who they have alliances with and who they're funded from. So Rivian is going to be producing vehicles at a former Mitsubishi Motors plant in Normal, Illinois. This was purchased for $16 million in 2017. And the company has spent more than $750 million to equip, renovate, and expand the facility ahead of production. They have 3 all-electric vehicles at the moment: the R1t Pickup, the R1s SUV, as well as a line of delivery vans. The fact that Rivian already has a 2.6 million square foot plant, including a paint shop that's near completion, actually puts them ahead of Tesla and Nikola. Tesla, you might be surprised at, but they actually have not even established where they're going to produce the Cybertruck. They don't have a facility reserved just for that right now. Rivian, like Tesla, plans to sell its vehicles directly to consumers, bypassing franchise dealers that are used by traditional automakers and have a long history and contractual obligation. Now, this could have positives and negatives. It eliminates the middleman, so there's less costs, but at the same time, there are many state laws which restrict how cars can be sold, so that way they protect the old dealership models. So let's go a little bit into their trucks, their 3 vehicles. They have the R1t Pickup Truck. This is the company's first vehicle to hit the market. It's expected to begin deliveries in June of this year, of 2021, and is an electric pickup. Now, truck buyers are loyal, but the horsepower can be a factor that gets some to convert. It's a leading factor which Rivian has a bit of an advantage on. Electric powertrains, instantaneous torque and sockets, and air compressors for power tools are big features, and that will be very appealing. In addition to having more than 400 miles on a single charge, which for most day-to-day operations for any contractor or person who's using a pickup, that's more than enough. This is also in line with Tesla's Model S Long Range Plus. It's priced high at $69,000, but compared to an F-150 with all the works, it's really not that out of line. It is a little higher, but at the beginning, it might be worth it, especially since you're not spending any money on gas. So Rivian's second planned vehicle is the R1s. That's the SUV that starts at $74,000. It also has a range of 400 plus miles. They plan to roll this out in August. Now, both of these vehicles will have a slow rollout at first. A lot of folks, even though that's higher priced, there's actually a lot of people who will purchase this, we feel, because both these type of vehicles appeal to businesses in many cases, and they can expense it. So they probably will not have a problem buying it in the end. And it's actually, it's worthwhile. Now, the other vehicle that's coming out is the delivery van. And in a sense, that takes precedence right now because they actually have a strong contract for that. They in December of 2019, Amazon announced it would be purchasing 100,000 electric vehicles from Rivian. So that's amazing, and it's part of their initiative to go net carbon neutral by 2040. Rivian is going to start delivering these later this year, and it's going to go through 2030. So they have about 9 years to deliver 100,000 vehicles at first. It might go up. Right now, Rivian and Amazon are testing the vehicle in 16 different locations. In fact, just last week, one was spotted in Los Angeles. We don't know if it's being tested in other cities, but it is actually on the road getting ready for implementation. So next area of focus is funding. So Rivian raised $8 billion since the beginning of 2019. Although the company's been around for a number of years right now, their funding really has taken off in the last 2 years. So the CEO, Scaringe, said that Rivian has no plans to go public anytime soon. He actually likes the company being a bit under the radar overall, since he does like to focus on the details and not the PR and razzmatazz. So Amazon, in addition to ordering the vehicle, it was an early investor. And then beyond Amazon, we had April of 2019, Ford, which is a big partner, provided $500 million. And Ford right now relies on Rivian to construct a lot of their EVs because of Rivian's electric powertrain. So Ford's really going to rely on them in the long term. There's always speculation that Rivian will eventually be bought out by Ford, but Ford, in a sense, owns a part of it because of their $500 million investment. And then in June of 2020, they had a very large funding round of $2.5 billion. T. Rowe Price and Associates was the main ringleader for this round, and they brought in a number of other investors as well on this, including BlackRock, Baron Capital, many other investment groups. And then just 6 months later, in January, last couple of weeks ago, they raised an additional $2.6 billion. So that's over $5 billion just in a couple of months. And this again was led by T. Rowe Price. So T. Rowe Price is a major investment in Rivian overall. Now, in terms of valuation, after all this investment, Rivian is now valued at $27.6 billion, which is amazing. I mean, all these electric vehicle companies have very high valuations. If you think about it, they're $27 billion, and Ford has a market cap of $39 billion and sells significantly more vehicles each year. That valuation is actually higher than Delta Airlines, Tyson Food. I mean, it's out of control. So Ford has definitely gotten their money's worth if this goes. But for a company that only has 100,000 vehicle order, that's quite a valuation. But we've seen Tesla take off, and we know that all the larger vehicle companies are converting to electric. So in many ways, it does make sense. In general, my thoughts are that there's a couple of things I see that could have positives and negatives. One is the vehicle itself. While the vehicle has great range, it's going to have trouble when it scales because the battery is very large. While battery power will improve over time, the battery it's going to be difficult for them to manufacture a product that costs a lower price by having the battery sizes that they have right now. We'll see how this turns out as batteries develop, but that's the biggest barrier to look for right now, in my opinion. Now, in terms of adoption of electric vehicles in general, by 2025, electric vehicles will be priced the same, if not a little lower than internal combustion engine vehicles, the ICE vehicles, which is a good thing. But at the same time, everyone's getting into it. Based on the competitors and how people are ramping up right now, in 2025, Tesla plans to have about 3 or 4 million vehicles. VW has plans to have 2 or 3 million. Lucid and Rivian will be minor producers even by that point. So they might fall behind before they can even get ahead. Granted, the products they're producing will not be produced as much by Tesla or VW at that point. So Rivian, I should say specifically, with the trucks, still can have an advantage to get in. Also, with their partnership with Ford, potentially Ford can scale up the way that Rivian produces cars and reduce their cost in some way, but it's going to be difficult. In fact, by 2030, once the industry is a little further down, there'll really only be a couple of big EV makers for the new world. You're going to need a capacity of 5 to 10 million electric vehicles by that year. Tesla, again, definitely will be there. Volkswagen will probably be there. Daimler, maybe, based on how their development is going right now. The companies that might have a tough time is Ford. We'll see how they scale up. But otherwise, aside from Rivian, they don't have a lot of big electrical initiatives going on at the moment. GM, granted, they're announced that they're gearing towards electric, but they're a long way off from being ready. I know they've had the Volts before. We'll see how that goes. BMW, Toyota, and Honda, none of them are even close to for full electric vehicles at any time in the near future. So we'll have to see. Rivian is in an interesting position. They have proof of concept. They have the vehicle. They have a vehicle that works well. It just matters whether it can scale and potentially if Ford can adopt that methodology and scale it up to all their operations. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment below, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks.